So this is going to be a very interesting review. Not because I'm reviewing the AirPod Max, but before I was doing my unboxing and stuff, I talked about how I was going to remain as unbiased, and I intend to keep that going. But I find myself in a crossroad with these headphones, where most of the headphones I've reviewed on the channel are mostly within $100 to $300 max. This is the first ever quote-unquote premium product that I actually have reviewed that is over $300, and this proposes a little bit of a challenge because I don't know exactly where these fit in, and I don't know how or who these are for. But with that said, I love them, and I hate myself for that. So I'm going to explain to you where these headphones fit, who are they for, and basically, are they worth $550? But most of all, I will also discuss everything you need to know about them. But before we get to the review, let's take a quick word from our partner, Rogue Energy. Now, before I start the review, I just want to give a quick disclaimer, guys. To all those of you watching me, I am a tech show host. I run a show called Technoid. I like to do my show where I talk behind a green screen, talk about the latest leaks and rumors without the BS. Off time, I do reviews like this. This is not my main subsidiary. My main stuff is, again, my show. So if you're watching me for the first time, thank you so much for clicking on. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you don't miss when I do future uploads of a review or my show. And also to returning subscribers, thank you as always. All that out of the way, let's get it going. So we're gonna review these headphones, and I'm gonna do this in a different format. We're gonna start with the sound quality, microphone quality, ANC, battery, build. We're gonna start from what you wanna hear first, and then we'll make our way down. So let's start first of all, before we talk about sound quality, we need to disclaim something real quick. This case, this quote unquote smart case is terrible. Apple, let me tell you something right now. If you're working on AirPod Max 2s or cheaper versions, do not include this abominationable, quote-unquote, flimsy little smart case, because this protects nothing. This does nothing. You hear me? Nothing. So get rid of this for your next release. All right, with that said, let's talk about the sound quality of these bad boys. So going into this review, I was expecting Apple to up the quality, because if you're charging $550, they have to sound like $550 pair of headphones, at least in my opinion. And I discovered that not only do they exceed that, but these are probably the best sounding headphones I have ever used. I have tested Sony's, Bose, AKGs, and none of them have come close to what the AirPod Max have done. And to prove it, I am going to play to you some sound samples that I have recorded, and I'm going to format to you now. Now again, these video audios that you're hearing have been unaltered, unedited, untouched, so everything you're hearing is exactly what these produce. Of course, the best experience is of course with headphones on, but you will have to be the judge of that. So here are the audio samples. Now I just want to take this moment and thank Bat Music for providing dark music, basically for providing 2 of the songs, but the soundstage for these are excellent. Not only are the acoustic tuning perfect, you can make out the stringed instruments, the drums, the separation, but when you're listening to retro music, rap with a bunch of bass, this thing handles it perfectly. All 3 different genres can be handled, all 3 different frequencies, your low, mids, highs, your treble. Although the treble is slightly a little bit higher than normal for me, I think it's something that you can excuse. I think the soundstage for these are perfect, considering also Apple has their quote-unquote adaptive EQ, which adapts to the music and the frequencies. So this thing is perfect for any type of music you're listening to. So Apple definitely hit the ball on the sound quality. So that is a good positive, because for $550, you needed to justify that. Now let's talk about the microphone quality. Now for microphones, these have 6 total microphones, 3 on the outside, 3 on the inside. This helps to pick up voice and make up for the active noise canceling, which we will talk about in a second. Now for my microphone testings, I was able to get some good quality. I was able to simulate a coffee shop and also in a quiet environment. So here are the recordings of that too. You let me know your thoughts down below. This is the microphone quality on the AirPod Max. This is what it sounds like in a quiet environment. I'm going to switch it to see if it makes any difference as I click the button. Here is a microphone sample of the AirPod Max. This is me simulating a coffee shop. Hopefully we can hear the difference in the background. If you guys notice anything, let me hear your thoughts. Now let's talk the ANC and transparency. Now this one was a little tough to record, so I only was able to get a couple of seconds of it. But here is what you can expect with the transparency. Again, simulating a coffee shop, but also simulating what you would be when you put these on your head. Now, again, the recording does not do it justice, but based on that and my everyday use, these things are incredible. Not only do they block out so much, but they do it excellently. They do it phenomenal, guys. I could barely hear anything when putting these bad boys on. And honestly, I gotta say, these things are probably one of the best ANCs on the market. They not only also beat out Bose, they beat out the WH-1000XM4s and my AKG N700 NCM2s. So it is amazing how well Apple kind of packed these things in, because they knew $550 were going to be a lot of money. So they definitely had to do stuff to up the build and also up the quality. So a lot of positives so far. Now let's talk about the battery life. Now on average, the battery life for these are 20 hours, although they can vary depending on your usage. I've been able to personally get a week's worth of battery before I would have to recharge them. Sometimes I'm able to go longer, but that's where this quote-unquote comes, because these things don't turn off. There is no physical turn off on these. So by putting them in this little pouch or carrying case, as they say, which is a joke, you can also reserve the battery by going into what they call low Bluetooth frequency. So for example, if these are charged at 100, they will stay at 100 when you freshly charge them, but as you use them, they use lower and lower Bluetooth, but then you'll see a depreciation in the battery life for about 2-3% depending on how often you use them. I've noticed these drop from 91 to 87 overnight, so a 3% discrepancy, but nothing too effective. But I think that Apple should have included an off switch. I don't know why they did this. That was my first negative. And the battery life itself is okay. It is pretty standard because most headphones come with a 20-hour advertised battery life, depending on transparency and ANC. But for $550, I would have thought maybe 24 hours. But you can up the battery by going in normal mode, where it turns off everything, so you can get a little bit more. And if you use the AUX mode, which we will discuss at the end, you can also milk out some battery as well. Now, let's talk about the design. Now, again, this couch parent case, again, if you ever see me carrying this way, I'm a man. I ain't doing no purse. You're never gonna catch me doing that. I'm just saying. But taking a look at the build quality, these are built relatively very well. Apple again knew $550 was out of the ordinary, so they upped the build quality. So for starters, we have a unique design with the headband where it is made out of a silicone material. You have a fabric mesh at the bottom here, which honestly is one of my favorite meshes that I've actually experienced. I have no pressure on the top of my head. It is comfortable, and even though it does look a little weird, it does make up for it in comfort. Now, these headphones are relatively heavy because they do have a aluminum body and also a stainless steel band. You are going to expect a little bit of heft to them, but overall, they definitely do a very good job, and I'm actually thoroughly surprised with the build quality. Now, taking a look here, you can swivel in and out. You have buttons here for media control, ANC control. You have your transparency, which helps with cabin pressure, these little grills. And then you have the ear cups, which are a memory foam material using a fabric material. They do feel very comfortable on my head, but after a while of wearing them, I can say that they do feel a little bit of pressure on my ears as they drag on, but not to the point where I want to take them off. I actually really enjoy them. But another cool thing is you can swap these ear cups. They are magnetic, so you can take them out and swap them, and it doesn't matter which way you put them. You can put them upside down and they will still work just the same. However, though, you are going to want to keep it this way because there is a sensor, and if you don't put it the other way, it won't be able to pick up your other side. So definitely something to keep note of. But overall, the versatility on this thing is perfect. I think that these are built very, very well, and they're done very, very good. Now, again, another negative that I have, though, is, of course, the lightning connector. Now, I don't understand why Apple decided to put a lightning port on here, but what's worst of all is that there is no 3.5 input. So you now have to buy an AUX cable, which is a very cheap cable in my opinion. Apple really did not even think it through when they were making that cable. But you have to pay $35 to get that cable because any other cable by Belkin or anybody will not work with the AirPod Max. So you have to buy Apple's proprietary cable. Then you can get 3.5 input if you're on a plane or if you're using these little quote-unquote adapters, which at this point, I think you should go wireless. But I will say with the AUX input, and after trying it out, it does sound a little bit better. Although, to be fair, they don't sound as big of a difference, so you're not really going to notice them full time. But there is a notable difference if you're using a Mac, most notably latency. So overall, what do I think of the AirPod Max? Well, this is where we come to the crossroad. You see, I can accept a few of these things. I can accept some of the negatives because there are a lot of positives here. For $550, you are shelling out a ton of money. You are shelling out literally what it would cost to get an iPad, a good iPad, an Apple Watch. You're basically shelling out a ton of money for headphones. But there are a lot of things here that actually justify. For starters, the spatial audio is great, the active noise canceling is tremendous, the transparency is great, it feels like a second pair of ears. The sound quality has probably the best sound quality on a pair of headphones that I have used, and most of all, they work perfectly with everything in your Apple ecosystem. But here's the thing though, that's $550. If you look at the competition for $350 and $400, you can get the Bose NC700s, which will give you just about the same in microphone quality, may not integrate as much, but it still can give you a similar experience. And what's worst of all is that there are cheaper competitors that are like Soundcore that I reviewed, and even though I don't like to call them cheap brands, they are affordable and they do just a great job with separation and sound as well. So this is very hard for me, but at the same time, I'm guilty of just loving these things. I paid for these, plus I paid for the Apple Care, so I dished out over $600 plus for a pair of headphones that I probably am going to keep long term. So I think at the end of the day, how can I recommend this to people? Well, let me tell you right now, if you're an average person looking for over-ear headphones, you might want to consider looking at the competition first before you decide to go for Apple, because honestly, it's not worth it to shell out $550 plus tax for a pair of headphones if you're only going to use them to work with your ecosystem. You have to be somebody that uses them every day. You have to be somebody that's similar to an audiophile, but most of all, you have to be somebody that can use them for their price tag. And I'm not saying this goes for everybody. This is for a certain amount of people because I have a feeling Apple is going to make a cheaper version of these in the near future. This is probably their premier top-of-the-line model, and then we'll get to the other models. So I think at the end of the day, if you're a person looking for the best sound quality, the best ANC in a headphone, if you're an Apple user and you're willing to dish out the money, then by all means go for it. But if you're somebody looking for a pair of good active noise canceling headphones, don't care about the ecosystem and just want something to work, then look at the competition before you look at this, because I tell you guys, there are noticeable difference not only in price, but in features, app support, everything. And that was one thing I didn't even mention in these reviews, the app support. You guys know how it is. You control everything through iOS, so you can program things in that, which I talked about in my reaction. But To sum it all up, this is a tough one because I really do love what Apple did with these, but I hate how highly they priced them. I love the build quality, the sound, the noise canceling. I love everything about it, no questions. But I think it's really hard for me as a reviewer to recommend these to the average people. The average, not the average consumers, the general consumers. Again, we're trying to phase out that word, average consumers. It makes you feel like you're a Neanderthal. So overall, I leave it up to you. If you want to dish out $550 for a pair of headphones, plus you don't even get some of the accessories in the box, we're not going to talk about the charging brick because no headphones come with charging bricks, then be my guest. There is a lot here, there is a lot of positives, but you're probably going to be better off looking somewhere else, but that is depending on what you want. So again, I leave it up to you. And that is it for my review of the AirPod Pros. Now again guys, I may have missed a couple of things, so if there's anything that I missed, please comment down below. Let me know what I missed so I can get it in the next episode. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button, share the video out with your friends. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you do not miss when I upload. Thank you for watching, and peace!